And there we have the cameraman giving us an inside view of what it looks like if you're a car ready to be crushed by a monster truck.
12 junkyard cars. They were once somebody's dream cars, and they're going to be part of the next event. This is the drag race over the cars, and it's a timed event over 12 cars by the monster trucks. That's what it looks like, but they won't look like that for long.
Again, Bearfoot is supposed to have the advantage. Again, horsepower should play a part here.
Well, Bigfoot surprised a lot of people here in the Louisiana Superdome in the first round. Let's see what Bearfoot can do now. More horsepower, a little bit lighter. And this is a drag race, a timed event over 12 cars.
He's going to have to be more aggressive here. He's just going to have to come out of the hole and charge at those cars because it's obvious that Bigfoot is here to win, and Bearfoot's just got to be more aggressive.
Again, it's a timed event. They're going on the clock. Bearfoot coming up first. The big Chevrolet against the Ford of Bigfoot. And here we go, the drag race over 12 cars. The big Bearfoot machine on the line. Gassing it, hitting the first car, and backing off, Margo, not that aggressive.
It's a problem because he pulled the first run. The cars aren't crushed. He's got to be a little careful hitting that first car.
Well, I'm telling you, let's take another look in slow motion from a different camera angle. He's slowing way down, almost stopping, then coming up and over the cars.
I can only guess that that strategy was to hit the cars easier, not get so much air. But as you can see, it didn't make any difference. He was not going to go real fast no matter what he did.
The time, 7.91 seconds. And again, Fred lost valuable time getting onto the cars. That could be the difference between a win and not a win. There's Bob Chandler, the owner and originator of Bigfoot, and the man responsible for the whole monster truck phenomena. This is a big event for the whole Bigfoot organization, and Chandler's serious.
We can see who he's rooting for.
No question about that. One of Bigfoot's big fans. Well, here we go. This is Bigfoot. Bigfoot 1 and Bearfoot 0 going into this race. Let's see what Bigfoot can do. The Ford entry. And the Ford and Chevy fans are almost equally divided here tonight in New Orleans. You might have noticed Bob Chandler with a video camera. He sets the cameras on the crushed cars to monitor the performance. They are always modifying and improving upon Bigfoot. And Bigfoot's reputation is on the line tonight. Rich lines it up. He's got to look out the driver's window. He can't look out through the windshield because he can't see the cars direct on, especially when he hits them, because he's going straight up in the air. There he goes, and up, and again, he does not slow down, Margo King. He keeps the pedal to the metal.
Over the cars with the pedal on the metal, too, and for a bouncy landing.
Well, it looked to me, to my untrained eye, that Bigfoot pulled that one off again. Another look at it. Different angle, slow motion. Again, he does not back off.
He hits the cars harder. He got a lot of air, but because he had all that momentum going, it drove him quickly across those 12 cars.
Hits the ground and bounces and rocks and rolls. Again, another look at it, and there's the clocking 6.75 seconds, the winner. This has been an unexpected upset. Bigfoot 2 and Bearfoot 0. We'll be right back with side-by-side mud bog drag racing action from the Superdome. Welcome back to the Ford Budweiser U.S. Hot Rod Triple Crown of Motorsports. Larry Huffman and Margo King call the action, and now the side-by-side mud bog drag racing. The top two times of the preliminaries will go to the finals. And we've got a problem, Margo King, with the Nitro Express.
Clay Langley is busily having his mechanic work on his car. Doesn't look like he can get it to fire up.
Looks like it might be overheated. Now, remember, they don't run a radiator in these cars because they only run 3 to 4 second durations of the entire run. And they're trying to prime it now and get it started.
Well, at this point, Chris, I think he wishes he could use a radiator, but he can't even get it started.
That was Jim Harris in the white shirt, and Harris has just reported us that Clay his starter has gone out, and the Mudbuster will run by itself. Bill GRISAMORE of Metairie, Louisiana, in a 1987 Ford Thunderbird. Custom chassis, a monster 460 Ford engine, modified to 504 cubic inches, 1,000 horsepower, running on alcohol. It's injected. Look out.
He's got the advantage of being the first one to run. The staging area is dry. He should get a great gate. This should be a good run for the Mudbuster.
This is an unreal car. 1,000 horsepower on alcohol, and he blasts down through the mud. and gets some air, gets up in the air, and slows it down. The Mudbuster goes through.
Looks like the crowd approves.
These are the funny cars of mud bog drag racing. Slow motion look at it. Look at the mud spewing up in the air.
Looks like that ASA dirt track flexi frame made his car do exactly what it's supposed to do over the mud. Plain out.
Oh, here's another look at it from the ground level, going into that huge, gooey, sticky, ugly mud pit. And he's got a beautiful time, 2.88 seconds through the mud. That fast start will set the pace for tonight's competition.
Must have been those double-decker air cleaners he's got on there.
Yep. The next round in the far lane, that's Wildfire, Little Rock, Arkansas, Richard Whitfield. And in the near lane, Chevy Under Glass, Terry Marschang of Largo, Florida, an 86 sprint car, a sprint drag car with a tube chassis, 2,100 pounds, 900 horsepower. Both these machines putting up close to 1,000 horsepower. On the line, far lane, Wildfire, close up to us, Chevy Under Glass. And there they go. And Chevy Under Glass rockets down there all the way through the chutes. Easy win for Chevy Under Glass.
He left the other competition in the mud, not dust.
Wildfire, a little less horsepower, actually, I understand. 300 horsepower. A little bit heavier, and it was Chevy Under Glass all the way. Beautiful run.
Let's see where Wildfire went wrong.
A clocking 2.64 seconds for the Wildfire machine.
Now to look at that run, he planed up good, had a good run, but just wasn't getting that horsepower hooked up and driving him fast enough through the pit.
Having a terrible time there slowing down as he gets all the way through the mud, too. Chevy Under Glass, here's the winner. Let's look at him. A good straight drive into the mud, trying to keep those front wheels up on the top of the mud, planing across them. Looking strong. Chevy Under Glass. No wasted motion, no sideways motion whatsoever as he goes through the traps. So the Chevy Under Glass machine of Largo, Florida, all the way through. Beautiful, straight as an arrow. 2.38 seconds. It's the fastest time so far. Next up, the 1987 national champion and current point series leader, the Great White Hope. That's Mike Fair, national champion from Mishawaka, Indiana. An attitude adjustment, a relative newcomer to the sport, only been driving a year, 17 years old, Charlie PAUSINA. The Great White Hope, the greatest amount of horsepower here tonight, 1,400 horsepower, and look at him go, and locks up the wheels up onto the safety dirt barricade. Mike Fair shows why he's the national champion, Margo King.
He had 1,400 horsepower compared to attitude adjustment 600, and he was able to hook it up. That's the tricky part.
You know, he knows what he's doing, too. Mike Fair is an experienced competitor. He knows exactly how to set up the car and how to drive.
When he's not drag racing, he's home building frames for these mud bog drag racers.
Take another look at it. The Great White Hope through the traps. Look at that beautifully. The time, 2.31 seconds, the fastest time so far tonight. Mike Fair is bringing home the bacon. Locks up the wheels, and look at him sliding sideways, steering right into the turn. That's what you're supposed to do. Let's take a look at attitude adjustment. Gets off the line a little bit slower, sinks down into it. Again, as Margo said, down on horsepower, 3.04 seconds.
But he's got good form, good style. That's where you've got to start. He's a beginner.
Next up, the vehicle with the least amount of horsepower in the field, and the vehicle with one of the oldest car bodies on the circuit. That's Salty Puppy. And that's in the far lane. There he goes, Salty Puppy. Mike Landesh of Louisiana, running only 375 horsepower on aviation gasoline.
I don't know. I liked his windshield wipers going there. On track 2, we've got Whiskey Bent and Hellbound.
Robert PRECOUR of Deltona, Florida, 1927 Ford two-window coupe. And Whiskey Bent and Hellbound is hellbound all the way through as he goes right up on the dirt. There's an interesting look at it. Whiskey Bet and Hellbound gets through the traps first. Good look at it. Let's see. The time to beat is 2.31 seconds from the Great White Hope. Let's take another look at it. This is the Salty Puppy.
With his windshield wipers going.
And the clocking for Salty Puppy, 3.68 seconds.
Remember, he's a heavy equipment operator, and his Jeep weighs in at 3,100 pounds. He's operating some tonight.
And down on horsepower, only about 375 horsepower on aviation gasoline. Let's take a look at Whiskey Bent and Hellbound. A good launch, Margo King, right down through the traps. A 2.44 second clocking.
A beautiful run.
No question about that.